Hey YouTube, this is Pharaoh's Vessel here. You tuned in once again. Today I bring you a deck profile of my Dark Magician deck that I like to use. Very rarely loses, which is nice. So without further ado, I'll get straight in and show you what I got. So yeah, Dark Magician deck. Obviously, being a Dark Magician deck, the best thing you can have is 3 copies of the Dark Magician. I play these 3. All different types, and again I'm different when it comes to things like that, so hence why I got 3 different types. I play 2 copies of Dark Magician Girl. Nice little added extra to the deck if you can manage to get her out and you've got enough Dark Magicians in the graveyard and Magician of Black Chaos. Obviously she gains 300 attack for each one that's in the graveyard, so quite helpful in a way. Next I run 2 copies of Magician of Dark Illusion. Another absolutely fantastic little card. If you manage to use a spell or trap on your opponent's turn, obviously you can special summon it from your hand. And then obviously while the cards face up on the field, etc, etc, it's classed as Dark Magician. And also, while it's, if I remember rightly, while it's face up on the field, you can special summon 1 Dark Magician from your graveyard. If I remember rightly. Next up, I've got 3 copies of Rod and 3 copies of Magician's Robe as well. Nice little spell finders and Dark Magician finders. Magician's Robe works that if you activate it as a quick effect during your opponent's turn, you can special summon 1 Dark Magician from your deck. Whereas Magician's Robe, when it's normal summoned, you can add 1 spell or trap from the deck to your hand, if I remember rightly. And it could, obviously it's got to contain Dark Magician in its text, but that's what the deck's about, so there should be plenty of them. Next I've got 2 copies of the Apprentice Illusion Magician. It can be special summoned from your hand by discarding 1 card. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. During damage calculation, if your other dark spellcaster monsters battle an opponent's monster, you can use it as a quick effect. You can send this card from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard, and that monster will gain 2000 attack during the damage calculation. So, nice little card there to have as well. Next up, I have 1 copy of Dark Magician of Chaos. And I also have 1 copy of the Palladium Oracle Mahad. Obviously, people who know Yu-Gi-Oh! Know that the Dark Magician of Chaos can only be brought out by Dark Magician, if I remember rightly. But don't quote me on that, I might be wrong. The main card that I want to bring to your attention is obviously this one, which is brilliant because obviously it's a 2500 monster. It's in your hand. All you've got to do is just show it to your opponent and bang, you can bring it straight to the field, which is absolutely fantastic. And when the card is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand, deck or graveyard as well. So it's a nice little card to have. Just to sum things up and finish them off, I've got 1 Sorcerer of Dark Magic and 1 Dark Eradicator Warlock. Dark Eradicator Warlock cannot be normal summon set. First got to be special summoned by attributing 1 Dark Magician on your side of the field. And while this card's face up on the field, you inflict 1000 points of damage to your opponent's life points each time either player activates a normal spell card. Then you've got the Sorcerer of Dark Magic. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by offering 2 level 6 or higher spellcaster monsters on your side of the field as tributes. As long as this card remains face up on the field, you can negate the activation of trap cards and destroy them. So both good little cards here to keep in there as well. 1 Chaos Sorcerer. By banishing 1 light and 1 dark monster, I'm allowed to bring this out from my hand. If I remember right, it's a special summon. And once per turn, I can choose one face-up monster on the field and banish the target. The card cannot attack the same turn that it does so, but hell, you've just got rid of one of your opponent's monsters, you know what I mean? And to finish off for the monsters, I play 2 copies of Magician's Valkyria. Basically, Magician's Valkyria is only a 1600 by 1800, but your opponent cannot target any other spellcaster type monsters for attacks except for that one card. So one of my little tricks is play the 2 of them and they can't target anything full stop. So with that, we shall move on now to the spells. So moving on, we've now got the spell cards. Most of the cards in here will know what they do, so I won't go into too much detail with them, but I play 2 copies of the Dark Magical Circle. Let's bring them down so we can get them in the view. I also have 3 copies of the Eye of Timaeus and 2 Dark Magic Attack. I have a few choice more in here as well, just give me a moment. I have 1 Dark Magic Inheritance, 1 Dark Magic Expanded, 1 Illusion Magic, 1 Dark Burning Magic, which is a good little card, especially if you've got a Dark Magician and a Dark Magician girl out on the field. You can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Nice little number. 1 Dark Magic Circle, 1000 Knives. I've also got Magical Dimension. Last duel I had, that card got me out of a very tight scrape. I was up against Cyber Dragons, and a dear friend of mine pulled out his 1 Cyber Dragon, ended up with 8000 attack. I panicked, drew that, and luckily managed to get rid of his 8000 and then just completely obliterate the board by bringing out a shed load of Dark Magicians. So just move those to a side. I've also got Sage's Stone. Activate only if you control a face-up Dark Magician girl, and then special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or deck. 1 Sword of Revealing Light. Another one's a stall card. Manages to stop your opponent for 3 turns. It's a pretty nice one to have. Obviously I've got the Magician in there, so I use Dedication Through Light and Darkness, which allows me to tribute the 1 Dark Magician and find him in my hand, deck or graveyard. I've got the Chaos Scepter Blast. Obviously Dark Magician of Chaos. You can use it, and because obviously you're controlling a level 8 or higher spellcaster type monster, you can banish 1 card in the field face down. If the card's in its owner's spell or trap zone, it is destroyed by an opponent's card effect. You can, well, yeah, you know how it works. Next I play into the traps 3 copies of Eternal Soul. No Dark Magician deck is complete without an Eternal Soul to go with the Dark Magical Circle. Basically, Eternal Soul's pretty solid card. Every Dark Magician in the monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. If the face-up card leaves the field, obviously meaning Eternal Soul, you destroy all monsters you control. But you can only use the following effect of Eternal Soul once per turn. Basically, you're allowed to special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard, or add 1 Dark Magic Attack or 1000 Knives from your deck to your hand. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Magician's Navigation, which is another nice little searcher for your deck. 1 copy of Mirror Force. I play 1 Magic Cylinder, 1 Dark Renewal, and just because I know our mate's got quite a few in there when I duel against him, I like to keep 1 White Hole in my deck to stop his Dark Hole. With that, we'll move on now to the XYZs and Fusion Monsters. So inside my XYZs and my fusions, I like to hold one Ebon Illusion Magician, one Ebon High, both of which take 2 level 7 monsters to bring them out. One states just 2 level 7 monsters, the other states 2 level 7 spellcaster. So obviously being everything in there pretty much spellcaster, it's quite handy. Obviously then for your Eye of Timaeus, you've got one Amulet Dragon, 2 Dark Paladin. I like to have one Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. I do apologise about the glare on the light as well. 2 Dark Magician, the Dragon Knights. So basically guys, that's it. That's my deck profile. For my Dark Magician deck. It's never really let me down. Always been pretty solid. Not really tried it at tournament level, but you can always assume that those decks are going to be rocking some pretty powerful stuff. But yeah, if you want a nice, cheap and easy budget deck to put together, obviously I've put a few quid into this one. This is what you want, and it's guaranteed that it'll hold its own against most decks. So yeah, thanks for tuning in again, guys. I'm not going to ask you to do the whole subscribe and like bit, because obviously if you want to, you can. There will be more videos being brought out shortly, more deck profiles, more box openings, more packs, etc, etc. So yeah, you can subscribe if you like. It's entirely up to you. I'm easygoing. Until next time, ciao for now.